And what about the other day when you said we'll go and visit your family? You questioned him after hearing what he just told you. We will, but there's a slight change in the plan. We'll go there after I come back, okay? You were looking at him while he was admiring every inch of your face. Can I ask you what you do on missions? I mean, I always hear you saying that you have to go on mission, but you never really tell me what's that. Like, what kind of work you do on missions? Do you kill people like they show in the movies? Or like do illegal stuff? Jungkook chuckled at your innocence, but the question that you raised was powerful, and if he tells you the truth, you might not handle it, and he wants you to stay away from that side of him. He wants you to always see the good and positive side. He wants you to live with peace and ease without getting disturbed by all these activities. He caressed your cheeks with his thumb. It's hard to explain. I'm ready to listen. He chuckled softly. Just like any other profession, we have our work. Sometimes the work is normal, but there are days when we have to struggle to protect everything that we have. Something like that. It gives me a feel of those soldiers who go to wars to protect their nation, away from families. Leave it, I don't want to bother you because you are not even explaining in detail and I'm not understanding anything. He laughed a little. Okay, leave it. Tell me, how was your cooking class today? You sighed and looked at him. Very embarrassing. You know, I messed up in front of everyone and became a meme. Why? What happened? The teacher was giving instructions and I started the mixer before that, and the food inside was super hot and that's why it spilled all over, even my clothes. It was so embarrassing. He laughed at your cuteness, although he knew he shouldn't. It's okay, you taught everyone what not to do in class. You looked at him surprised and sat down. This is exactly what the teacher said to me. Did he tell you everything already? It made him laugh again. No, I just guessed it. You sighed and again laid down. Even you are laughing at me. He pinched your cheek softly. I'm laughing at your cuteness. Don't be sad. One day you'll learn to cook and will surprise everyone with your cooking skills. I believe in you. You smiled, feeling better after your husband praised you. I hope so. Then I'll cook for you so many dishes that are in my mind. I'll wait for the day to come soon. He pulled you closer to him by your waist. Let's sleep now. I might have to leave early in the morning. Please don't disappear without telling me. Just wake me up before you go so I can at least know when you go. You always leave like that. He nodded and kissed your forehead. Okay, I will not go without telling you. Now let's sleep. Good night. Good night. I love you. He said and closed his eyes. You turned off the lamp and snuggled into his arms before sleeping, the place where you feel more comfortable and safe. It was only 3 hours that you slept for when Jungkook got a call. He had to leave immediately and he didn't want to disturb you when you were in deep sleep. But as promised, he had to wake you up or you'll complain later. You just closed the door and dropped yourself on the couch as it was 3 in the morning and it was pitch dark outside. I sometimes pity him, why he has to work so much. You were half asleep, so you decided to spend the rest of the night on the couch itself. Pulling a soft blanket over you, you fell asleep. You crossed your fingers when the teacher was observing the dish that you just made. You were scared and nervous, but when he looked at you, you literally held your breath to hear his comment. You did an amazing job today. This is the best you did so far and I must say you have improved. I will give this dish a 8 out of 10. You couldn't believe you were hearing this comment from him. Couldn't believe that you were hearing praises from him. Thank you so much. He smiled. Just continue with the same dedication. Soon you'll learn everything. You nodded. Today you were so happy and you decided to cook the same dish for Jungkook when he comes back home. You can't wait to share all this with him. You always wanted to learn how to cook because growing up in a family where everyone pampers you like a child and you were the only child, so all the love was on you and they never really let you do any work. But you realize that you have this urge to cook something for your husband, the man that you love the most, and that's why you have joined cooking classes so that instead of cooks, you make him food with love so that he can enjoy better. Although he knows everything, today you can't wait to go back home and cook the dish until he arrives. He told you that he'll come back by evening or maybe tomorrow morning, but he wasn't sure. After the class over, you wrapped up everything and stopped by a grocery store to get some stuff and go back home. You came back home and already got surprised outside because Jungkook's car was parked. You didn't know he would come back this early. Your happiness raised a level high as you quickly came inside. You were desperate to tell him everything, but your steps slowed down when you saw a group of his gang members inside the house. It never really happens as he only allowed them to stay outside but never inside the house. One of them greeted you as he noticed you. Your eyes then fell on the couch and the bag that you were holding dropped from your hands when you saw Jungkook on the couch. They all turned their heads towards you when the sound came and you got goosebumps when you saw your dear husband covered in blood. A man was taking out a bullet from his shoulder. Jungkook's face went pale as he thought it would sort out before you come, but your presence scared him. He knew you are too sensitive and can't handle this sight, but he had no choice but to come home in this condition. Ryan, tears built up in your eyes as you covered your mouth with your hands. What happened to you? I'm okay. When you saw the blood, you lost your consciousness and fell on the floor. One of his men caught you. Ryan. He stood up in that painful condition and rushed towards you. Boss, your shoulder is injured. Please don't move it. He warned him because he just took out the bullet and the wound was open. Jungkook didn't care about himself or his injury. When it comes to you, nothing matters to him. Ignoring the immense pain, he picked you up and made you sit on the couch. Fine, please open your eyes, love. Mark, check her. Mark came near you and checked your pulses and all before looking at him. Jungkook covered his wound as blood was coming out of it. She has lost her consciousness for some time. She will regain it back, but I think you should let me stitch your wound before she wakes up. Your condition will go critical. Because of losing so much blood, Jungkook was also feeling dizzy, but he has become strong enough to endure such pain. He rested his back against the couch while Mark started to do his work. He bit his lower lip and the whole time his eyes were only fixed on you. I shouldn't have come home. It was a stupid decision. You shouldn't have put your life in danger for that old man. It would have cost you more than this. Jungkook turned his face towards you. Even if it cost me my life, I would do that. I can't be the bad guy all the time. Mark looked at him. He was surprised how much Jungkook has changed in past few years. Earlier he was a monster, but after you came in his life, everything about him is changing slowly. Today he put his life in danger to save an old man. It happened when they were coming back from the mission when suddenly they got attacked again. They were leaving but an old man came in the middle. He would have died by the bullets that the other gang was firing, but Jungkook jumped out of the car and saved him. In that process, the bullet hit his shoulder, but he didn't stop and finally saved the man. Jungkook felt his body getting weak. He was already dizzy and now it's hard for him to stay in his consciousness. Mark gave him medicine. You slowly opened your eyes and blinked to adjust your vision. You found yourself in your bed and suddenly you sat down, recalling the memories before you lost your consciousness. Jungkook, you looked beside you and there he was, sleeping and his shoulder was covered with bandages. You shifted near him and touched it just a little before tears built up in your eyes. You could only imagine how much pain he would have endured all the time. A tear dropped on his bare shoulder, but you quickly wiped your eyes. What did you make me see today? Is that what your job is? Is this how you come home? Jungkook was deep in the sleep because of the dose of medicine, so he wasn't even listening to you. After some time, you got up from the bed and walked out of the room, wiping your tears. You stopped when you saw Mark in the living room. He stood up when he saw you and walked near you. How are you feeling now? How did that happen to Jungkook? What was the work that he ended up like this? He let out a soft sigh and looked at you. And then, without caring about the consequences or what Jungkook would say or do, he explained everything to you. This much information was too much for you to handle, but you decided to listen. It never happened before, but now he's completely changed. He cared about others, and in that process of saving an old man, he got shot, but don't worry, he's fine now. Might wake up soon. You wiped your tears that were falling down. Thank you so much for telling me all this and saving him. That's my job. I hope now everything is clear. Please don't panic and take care of yourself and boss as well. He's alright. You nodded. Don't worry. I'll take my leave now. You nodded while he bowed and left. You came back in the room when you saw Jungkook was trying to get up. He was worried when he didn't find you in the bed. You quickly rushed near him. Don't move too much. He looked at you and felt so relieved to see you all fine. You helped him in sitting on the bed. Are you okay? I'm so sorry for that, Vian. What are you sorry for? Why are you so afraid to show your true self in front of me, huh? He was surprised. You sat beside him. I got to know about everything, but you should be sorry for this, that I got to know about my husband from someone else. Why you always want me to be with you in your good times? Don't you think I deserve to share your pain as well? Jungkook's heart melted. There's nothing like that, but I just don't want to make you sad or worried in any way. I promised your father that I'll keep the same way you grew up. And what about now? I feel more hurt and sad knowing how much you have hid from me. You are not my dad, Jungkook. We are married, and I have all the rights to know what you are going through, whether it's good or worse. I want to be there with you in every phase. You don't have to think like my father. For him, I'm his child, but here I'm your wife. Don't take this right from me. His eyes teared up. You didn't hug him because of his shoulder injury. Instead, you rested your head against his chest. Tears started to drop from your eyes. I'm so sorry. I promise you that I will never hide anything from you, whether it's good or bad. I was scared. Please never leave me alone, Jungkook. I will never be able to live without you. I don't care about what you do. Just remember that you have my soul in you, and if something happened to you, I will die too. He hugged you from the other hand and kissed the top of your head before shaking his head. Don't say that. Nothing will happen to you and not me. I will always protect us. After staying in the bed for a while, you decided to cook for him some soup or porridge as he was weak. You wiped your tears and got up. Stay here. I'll cook something for you. He nodded. When you left, Jungkook slowly rested his back against the headboard and his smile faded away. He can never see tears in your eyes, but today they came just because of him. 3 years ago, he met you and you both fell in love with each other at first sight. He knew you are a daughter of a very successful billionaire and your lifestyle was completely different from his. Although you grew up without a mother, but your father never let a tear come in your eyes. Jungkook literally had to beg your father to get permission to marry you. Of course, your father was not ready to give his beloved daughter to a mafia, but you also insisted. He saw your love towards each other and then only after so many days he got agreed. Jungkook was never wrong when he said he loves you with his whole heart. Never ever he let you see the different side of him because it wasn't for his loved ones, especially you whom he loves more than anything. 3 months later. I just can't stop eating it. How come my stomach is full but I'm still not satisfied? I want more. You laughed. You don't need to finish all that. I still can't get the exact measurements, so I cook for like 4 people. You were cutting fruits, Jungkook looked at you. I told you right that one day you'll amaze everyone by your cooking skills and see, you did it. You smiled. Now I won't go to the classes anymore and learn by myself. You gave him some fruits. You already became a pro. I'm so happy. You smiled and by looking at your face, it was clear that you want to tell him something. Jungkook seems to notice that. Why do I feel like I should know something that you want to tell? You bit your inner lip and gave him another slice of apple. Don't know why, but you were kind of shy. Sweetheart, would you like to tell me? He said, holding your hand. I don't know how to say this. He frowned. Just tell me, is everything alright? You looked at him and nodded. Yes, everything is fine. Jungkook, how will you feel when someone tell you that you are going to become a father? I will be the happiest. He paused when he realized and he looked at you. Am I really going to become a father? You smiled and nodded. Jungkook was really speechless for a second. He started crying because he was wildly happy. He had probably never felt his love for you more intensely like he was feeling now. He held both of your hands. Why are you crying? You asked hesitantly as you couldn't understand why he started crying. You have made me the happiest man on this planet. I love you. I love you so much, Ryan. He got up and hugged you tightly. A smile appeared on your face as you wrapped your arms around him as well.